Hey, this is Zacklog the... Wait, what the hell am I doing with this? This is Zacklog the Great. So, I have this friend Andrew who is convinced that his apartment is being raided by gnomes. He says they move his keys, bury his remote in the couch cushions, steal single socks, and turn the milk in his fridge sour. So, once or twice a month, I go over to Andrew's place and help him search for the gnomes. We plug up possible entry points, we set out gnome traps. It turns out gnomes really like chocolate chips. We spend hours theorizing about why the gnomes are out to get him and what their goals are. Of course, I don't believe in these gnomes, but I like Andrew and I'm trying to help him. But on second thought, am I really helping him? I mean, I know these gnomes aren't real. Everyone misplaces their keys sometimes. Milk just goes bad after a while. I admit I'm still a little stumped by what happens to our socks. At best, I'm helping Andrew waste his time. At worst, I'm feeding a paranoid delusion that is causing him real harm. Maybe even making him do things that endanger himself. Some of those gnome traps are pretty nasty. If you care about another person, the truth matters. And encouraging a fundamentally false belief is not caring. It's not healthy. For the past several months, we have made enormous changes to our economy, to our society, to how we interact at grocery stores, at barbers, at church, because of fear of a new virus spreading. But as time has gone on and more information has come out, it appears that this new virus is a slightly worse than average flu. It can kill people, yes, but so can the flu. Most deaths are among the very old or otherwise immunocompromised, just like the flu. In recent weeks, the number of diagnosed cases keeps climbing and the media is pounding on that point. But not that many more people are dying, which the fake news does not mention. Now, of course, every unnecessary death is sad. And of course, we should work to minimize this. I am not denying any of that. But in the real world, there are seldom just straightforward solutions. There are trade-offs. Every solution has a cost. Roughly 38,000 people die in traffic accidents in the US every single year. Hundreds of thousands more are injured. We can end all of this in an instant by making driving a car or truck illegal. But we don't. Is that because we're heartless? No, it's because we, as a society, have decided that the cost of doing so would be worse than the cost we have to put up with by keeping cars on the road. And the people demanding everyone wear face masks, that the government mandate these face masks, they never talk about any of the trade-offs. They never acknowledge any kind of cost or any complications from the policies they insist on. They are right and everyone else is wrong, and that is the end of it. But there are costs and there are drawbacks. The most obvious, and you'd think the left would say something about this, is the environmental cost. Many of the masks that people use are temporary and disposable. That's a lot of extra waste. Of course, even the CDC acknowledges that people with certain health conditions should not wear face masks. Not hard to see why. People are wearing them to protect against a virus, but a piece of fabric that quickly grows damp being held up against your face for hours at a time? That's a perfect breeding ground for bacteria, some of which could be just as dangerous as COVID. For that matter, and I think this is a serious problem, there is the psychological cost. Our faces provide a wealth of emotional and social information. Covering up half of our faces in public is dehumanizing. That's why in all the action movies with the disposable army that the hero mows down with a machine gun, the enemies have their faces covered. It's easier to dismiss them as people. They're just game pieces. Do you think this has no effect on us when nearly everywhere you go, almost everyone has his face covered? Do you think right now we really need more prompting to dehumanize our fellow citizens? And what about children? Especially young children. Their developing minds need all the information and interaction they can get. We are massively depriving them. Do you think this will have no effect on their development? And what are we doing all of this for? A worse than average flu. Apart from a few places where the conditions were particularly bad, I'm looking at you, Governor Cuomo, we have not had the apocalyptic death counts that were predicted. You don't help someone caught up in delusion by feeding into their delusion. If you care about them, you call them out of it. You call them back to the real world. Show you care. Show your face.